original, no carbon copy, fell from heaven, moving godly. Let's talk about it, over cocktails, we'll call it. Kicking flavors, sitting pretty, talking confident, not cocky. Let's talk about it, over cocktails, we'll call it. Am I sorry that I'm tardy to the party? No, not hardly. Made a quick pit stop, had a cocktail, we'll call it. Let's talk about it, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, over cocktails, we'll call it. Let's talk about it, how you cocktails, we'll call it. That's how you feel. Let's talk about it, how you cocktails, we'll call it. Tell them why you mad. Let's talk about it, how you feel. Let's talk about it, tell them why you stressed. Tell them why you mad. Tell them why you happy. Tell them why you blessed. Tell them why you blessed. Tell them why you blessed. Tell them how you feel. Get it off your chest. Get it off your mind.
Welcome to the show, Ella.
Thank you for having me.
We finally got you on, baby.
Oh, I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
You are such a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
You are such a wealth of knowledge. You guys, we had an hour and a half conversation on our first time conversating, and it was just so amazing. It was so magical. You gave me chills. We were just jiving and just...
It gets deep, deep.
It was getting deep.
Deep.
But I liked it, and we liked it.
I like it. That's it.
So Ella, you are, first off, you look beautiful in your green.
Thank you.
I said her money green, y'all.
Money green.
Okay, money green. I love it. So tell us the most interesting thing publicly that people may know about you.
The most interesting thing that people may know about me?
Yeah. Like
See, I traveled the world as a former professional athlete.
Yes.
While being a single parent.
Wow.
Showing up and showing out.
Yes.
And was ranked number 6 in the U.S., number 15th in the world as a hurdler.
As a hurdler?
Yes.
Wow. So you can throw stuff really far.
Jump.
Hurdles.
The
hurdle.
Hurdles, yes. So hurdler in life and was a hurdler in sports. So that's why I know I'm trained to just charge through obstacles and you each want to go for it.
I love that. So what is the idea, like what's the strategy behind being a hurdler?
The strategy is to, one, not think about jumping over objects, but more so charging through obstacles. And so that way, because you're supposed to you're a sprinter who just sprints through obstacles, not a hurdler who just jumps them.
Okay. So that's very interesting about you, but then you have a really interesting thing about you that I think that changes lives and helps promote businesses.
Oh, that interesting thing. That also is tied to even that story of why I do what I do right now, because experiencing, on the sports side as a former professional athlete, growing up and raised by my mom, who was an independent artist, I've seen a lot on both sides, a lot. Right. And I learned a lot of what we don't know. And so right now, very interestingly, as the empowerment influencer, I'm the ownership attorney. I right now advocate and empower for us to truly understand through and through in the sports industry, entertainment industry, small businesses. I call it the Trinity, understanding real property, personal property, intellectual property, and knowing how that builds your legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are I would say it sounds like you're like a universal attorney.
It's just the Trinity, right? So if you just think about what does it take for me to truly own something? Because sometimes you may hear people say, I'm a trademark attorney. Okay, you may have your trademark.
Right.
Oh, I'm a contract attorney or business attorney.
Right.
Okay, well, you may have that piece. Or I do real property. But having one piece of the trio, the Trinity I call it, that's the Holy Trinity of legal, those 3 pieces go together as one.
Right.
And so I focus on just the ownership of your dreams, of your vision. So that way it doesn't turn to a nightmare. So it's not general, it's focused on the ownership, and that Trinity is what gives the ownership.
Okay, I love that. So you have a practice. Do you actually have a practice?
Yes,
tell us
I founded my firm right now. So I did a rebranding a few years back. It started out as E.O. Kelly Sports, Entertainment, and Business Law Firm.
Oh, okay. The Trinity.
Yes, the Trinity. Okay. But I had this strong conviction that I know our name is big, right? We're supposed to carry things with our name. But I had a strong conviction that, Ella Keisha, this is even bigger than your name, what you're doing.
Yes.
And I changed my law firm name to Sire de Jure, which means to know by lawful right. And so my mission is to make sure we all know what we own by lawful right. So it's Sire de Jure Legal Firm.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what type of clients do you typically attract?
I have a variety. I have some from startup
Yeah.
all the way to stardom.
I know that's
So
right.
yes, I represent
Startup to
now
stardom.
startup to stardom. I represent the #1 real estate firm in the nation,
Yes.
minority-owned real estate
Okay,
firm,
okay.
Norman and Associates. My client, Christian Coleman, world champion. I represented Karen King and Scrap Deleon. So it's just, and I also represent people that you don't even know their name, but you will. So I make sure I represent.
Oh, Scrap DeLeon.
Yes.
He was on Love and
Love
Hip
and
Hop.
Hip Hop.
And his mother,
KK.
Karen. Yeah,
Yeah.
KK. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And whatever cases he had going on.
No, so I represent on the ownership part, so entertainment.
Just the
So I made sure I
entertainment.
did those negotiations when it comes to the entertainment part and the contracts and all that
Oh,
stuff.
so you would look at, so if someone wanted to, like for example, if someone wanted me to be on a reality show,
That's
I
it.
would say, hey, Ella,
What does this look like? What does this really mean? What type of, how are they really taking my name, image, and likeness? What are some boundaries? I talk about things about favored nation. Some people don't know how to negotiate the pay. Well, you mentioned certain terms in there that if certain people are getting paid this,
Yeah.
then so yes, I am in the sports industry,
Right.
entertainment industry, small and mid-sized
wow.
businesses.
This
So
is epic,
all
you
that
guys.
contracts. Yeah.
So because this is really epic, you guys, because there's a lot of, reality shows that are being filmed in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So you guys don't just be so quick to sign, agreements. You need to talk to an actual attorney. So
Right, because you don't know how long you may be locked in, right? It may stop you from other deals,
Opportunities,
opportunities
yeah.
and situations, and you may have to just sit out because you may get a pickup letter, and you was hoping, I don't even want a pickup letter anymore. I want to get out. But
what
as
is a
long-
pickup letter?
So in reality TV, each season, they'll let you know if they're going to pick you up the next season if you already locked into numerous seasons. If they don't pick you up, then you get to get out of the contract, in which they say, for instance, they may say, we're going to do this contract and it's for 8 years or 8 seasons. You still have to wait each year to see if you get a pickup letter. If you don't, then you can get out, but you're waiting if you do. And a lot of times they wait to see who they're going to lock in. I'm going to give you a pickup letter 8 different seasons, 8 years if I want to lock you in.
So what happens if somebody has a contract and they're in a reality show and they decide to get out of the contract? So you see there's some, celebrities that'll say, you know what, I'm not going to return next season. Aren't they locked into an agreement?
No, it depends. So say, for instance, like I gave you the example with the 8 years, they may be out of their lock-in time and they don't want to come back to the table and renegotiate. I get a chance to get out, I'm leaving. I am done.
So do they typically, with the reality shows, do they typically just sign like 1-year agreements at a time, or is it just subjective?
If they really don't have interest in you, then it could be 1 year at a time. If they know they're sitting on
don't like you that much,
if
girl.
they sitting on a gold mine, they're going to sign where it's a multi-year deal. But it's in their discretion if they're going to pick you up on it, not yours to leave. Because you sign a multi-year deal and you just wait each year to say, are they going to exercise this right that I locked myself into, or are they going to let me go?
Oh, wow.
And you have to wait until whatever that years are up, and then you can say, I'm completely out. I'm not renegotiating and I'm moving on. Otherwise, if you don't do it that way, you're in a breach of contract, and they can still any money you make, they're making it too. So if I go somewhere else and I'm breaching this contract, they have the discretion to either sue you on it or say, go ahead, baby, go wherever you want. But every time the check goes cha-ching, it goes like that in my pocket too. So
That's
the
tough.
language is deep, and a lot of times we overlook it because we're just looking for an opportunity.
Right.
And we think, and some of us, we like to negotiate fame versus respect.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What does that typically look like?
It looks like smoke and mirrors. That's what it looks like. And I always tell my clients, I do very well at negotiating your rights, not fame.
I know
don't do
that's
it.
right. You hear that, y'all?
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people, of course, we're in Atlanta, okay?
Yes.
We're in Black Hollywood. Let's just call it what it is. There's a lot of reality shows that are being filmed here. You get a lot of people that are Insta famous. They just want to be famous. They just want it. And I get it. I get it. It comes with a lot, right? What is negotiating fame versus negotiating like finances or an agreement, so to speak?
Right.
What
Well,
does that look
negotiating
like?
fame is easy, right? Because that is the carrot they dangle in front of you. There is no negotiation. They give you all the fame you want. I can make you look good, make it look like you own all this and you have all that. You don't have to come to the table and negotiate with me. Tell me how good you want me to make you look. Perception's everything. The negotiation comes in when you say, nah, I want substance. I don't just want fame. That's going to come regardless, and that's where we're getting stuck at. Your celebrity and being known is going to come if your work is great. Don't settle for that. They will say we will make you look like this, or even throw certain dollars at you.
Right.
Money depreciates. You got to do more than just the dollars thrown at you.
Right.
Think about back-end deals. How does this continue to make money, and you continue to make money off of it? When I went ahead and spend these 6 figures is over, but you continue to make money off my name, image, and likeness. Those are the conversations that get people knees knocking. Fame is easy. They're giving that away. They're giving that away.
For free.
For free, because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. What is it doing for you?
Right. So that's really interesting. So if you look at any sort of, without identifying a specific person, obviously, if you look at reality TV today, what would you say are some of the common mistakes that a lot of people are making?
The common mistake is, I know that happened to him or her, but I promise you when I get on here, it's going to be different.
Baby, you're going to be the same.
It's the same. It's a system. And if you're not prepared to handle and understand that beast of a system,
right,
it's gonna, as soon as you walk in, it's going to swallow you up and chew you out like it did anybody else.
What is the number one red flag?
The number one red flag is disregarding your interests. Right? When you, just to give you an example, say if you know you came on this reality show because you're hoping that's going to pop off something else you're doing, right? Where a lot of us say, okay, I'm coming here because I want to do this. And their thing is, I don't care what happens to your image. You're on this show. You need to do what's on this show. And I understand they call it reality show, but there's a lot of talking and prepping. Yes, a script reality. And when they disregard that I'm on here and I have an image, and they're like, yeah, your image is to be on the show, that's your red flag that you're about to go. That train is about to not just take off, it's about to smash you.
That is really interesting. I had a friend that was recently on a reality show, and the celebrity that was actually on the show, that was his love interest, wanted him to potentially do a sex tape. And I told him, I said, you know, I'm glad that you chose not to do the sex tape because that celebrity was probably going to use that as leverage to release it, to become relevant.
Absolutely.
And so he said, yeah, I do believe that she probably wanted to release it.
Absolutely.
And so when people sell these sex tapes, you know, roughly, and I'm not saying that that's your expertise, but roughly how much is that shopped for? You know, in terms of money, like monetary.
It depends on the value, right? So if you think about Ray J and Kim, I'm pretty sure that was shot
that
for.
That was $1 billion.
That was shot for all over. So it depends on, you know, the name, image, and likeness and the brand tied to it. A lot of people will have stuff on you and tucked away until it's worth something, right? And the more value that you give it, meaning the more you're out there, the more you're doing, it becomes more valuable, then they're going to shop it around. They're going to knock on the TMZs and other people's doors and see who's the highest bidder.
TMZ, they're such a beast with it. I mean, they are a marketing guru, production beast.
Yeah. But what I tell my clients when we sit and have our conversations, I say, listen, you know, don't get mad at the game or the player. Learn and understand both. And then just come to both with a better hand. Right? You got to know your spades. We were speaking about spades earlier. You make sure you have your spades.
Yeah.
Have your joker, do some spades, do some diamonds, so you can have a better hand to play. You can't hate it. It's a whole system.
So tell me this, how do the networks feel when they see that you're coming in as their attorney to discuss?
They don't like it. They don't like it. Let me tell I wish so many stories I could tell you.
Sis.
Especially when they find out me coming as a woman, coming as a black woman. There's so many different deals, and I deal with the conglomerates. I'm talking about Big Fish, Viacom, all of that, right? And they will have a strategy where it's one attorney deal with her, do another one, try to tire me down. But see, this athlete,
I know that's right.
This athlete who has trained physically, mentally, and emotionally, and I know someone else's life is on the line, I'm in this. I'm the wrong one.
I'm unbreakable.
Or the right one.
Or the right one, depending on what day
how
it
you
is.
want to look at it. So
I love that.
They don't like it, obviously, and and unfortunately sometimes they will get another woman who's black to try to deal with the situation.
Let me just get somebody that looks like you, that understands.
And hopefully that's what that all means. I'd be like, I love you, sis. I know this,
but no. Because this is business.
This is business.
So, wow, that's interesting. So have you ever had a client, have you ever told a client, you know what, I don't think this is a good deal. This is not good for you. And they continued on with it.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Because a lot of times, I mean, that's more times than not, right? You have the clients, we're talking, empowered. I feel you, yes, I don't want to give up all my copyrights, this and that. When we're in that negotiations and you get close in that taste, you're like, maybe I will. I don't know. Let's just do this. At the end of the day, I have to listen to what my client tells me. But anytime, which I thought your question was going to be, anytime I work with someone and it's completely against the grain in which I represent, they get what's called a disengagement letter. I'd be like, I'm not the best attorney for you. Maybe this person's the best attorney because I don't do fame. I do legacy. And that hurts my reputation of what I stand for and what I say I'm doing. It makes it easier for people to say, I know Ella Keisha's saying that, but we just got to get to her client.
Right.
And if we get to her client, she has to do what they say, and then that hurts it. So,
Was there ever a tough situation where you just had to say, wow, this would be a really good, I mean, let's just be honest, paying situation for me. This is a really good monetary situation for me to have this client, but I got to really tell them, like, this isn't it. And I know that they're probably not going to take it well, maybe based off of their demographics, education, understanding, whatever it may be.
Right.
How do you handle that?
I mean, I have the long conversations with them and say, remember how you came into it. These are your points. These are the objectives. You told me you wanted this objective fulfilled, this objective fulfilled. Don't depart from that. Let's stay here. And then there's also different ways to slice it, right? Let's go back to what I talked about copyright. If I'm dealing with a client who doesn't have leverage, remember I said from startups to stardom, I would say, okay, you may have a catalog. And you may have to have 3 different sections of a catalog. This is the area in which I will give up everything. This is the area in which we will have to be partners. And this is the area you're not going to touch at all. We may have to step in with this area here. And as you build momentum, now we're in the middle category where we're now partners. And now this one, no, I own it. So it's not always just a resounding no. It's just a totality of the picture together.
Okay.
But I've also, you talk about making money, not just from clients. I don't know if you can imagine, but just being an attorney, there's different opportunities that are put before us to be a name and a face for things to get done in the industries that I had to say no to.
Tell me about that.
It's so much. Where do we want to go?
That was a loaded statement.
It's so much. So especially when you move a certain way, they like, hey, can you come and be a part of this team to do X, Y, Z? I've had, celebrities who are part of politics that want me to be in a situation just because of the Esquire sign, different things. I mean, because you need Esquire there.
You need that.
So you're being pretty much paid to, do the things that needs to be done.
Have there been any situations where you said, no, I can't do that?
All of them, I say no.
Really?
Yeah. All of them, I say no.
It can be that bad.
It is that bad. And I know plenty that say yes. But it's not, I don't sleep at night.
It's an ethics thing for you.
It's an ethic. My thing, and I know this probably sounds cliche, but my reasoning is written on the tablet of my heart. And I have been rediscovering throughout my journey what that is. So everything I've been through as an athlete and seeing all the ugly, everything I see my mom, this is dedication and loyalty to shift the paradigm.
Right.
There's no way that I will allow for one thing to happen and then everything that I did will be unraveled because someone has 50 million things on me.
Right.
And I had to stop.
I totally understand. So tell me about this book here.
Code v. Code, the street code versus the legal code.
Let's
It's
talk
kind of
about
what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So this right here is an empowerment guide for, individuals in the sports industry, entertainment industry, and entrepreneurs. And it juxtaposes how we handle business the street code way versus how it has to be handled the legal code way. And the reason why we always get caught up is because we've done things, cultural conditions, what I call it, the street code. We have gifts to produce products and services. We didn't have time to talk about contracts and all of that stuff, trademarks. We just had to go because we've always been in survival mode.
Yes.
Not thriving mode. And so we just don't know. You only know what you know. And so in this book, I point out some of the things, not just my experience legally, but also my experience just growing up, in Albany, New York, seeing different things. And we shake hands on stuff that no longer fits, right? Where it was the old man handshake, let's do this and hold your
It doesn't mean the same
That doesn't
anymore.
mean 90% of the clients that come to me, contractual issues, whether it's business, entertainment, what have you, is from close friends, family members. It's not from strangers.
Oh, wow.
Right? No, that's how it works. It is not from strangers. And so this book right here gives examples. I talk about trademark, why we think the way that we think, why our mind is the way that it is. And I give a history of it. Talk about trademark starts with manufacturing. It didn't even start with us doing business. When it evolved, we didn't evolve with it. Certain groups did, but we didn't.
Of course.
I talk about contracts. I go back to enslavement era, right? When we use our talent, we use our talent for freedoms. We didn't use our talent to sign a contract and do it. We use our talents to give ourselves higher elevated status, freedoms, or what have you. That has continued to evolve with us. I remember when I was running in high school and I had different offers, scholarship-wise, I had all my family members say, just go, make it big, make it, we always say make it big.
Of course.
We never thought about the details, the devil in the details.
Yeah.
And so this book talks about how we think from a historical perspective, then it talks about how we should be thinking. I give examples of cases.
Yeah.
And how that actually, what was the outcome of it? How we actually move, copyright issues.
Yeah.
With that social media, right? What do? Copy
That's
pictures?
exactly what I was looking at.
See? I mean, our copyright issues is in music
Yes.
and photography is usually a lot of times. Like we're taking
Really?
pictures. Yeah, I mean, we're taking pictures. We just see it, we like it, we use it. And also in music, I go to the history of that, talking about DJ Kool Herc. You got to go through the history of hip hop through the 60s, 90s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I talk about how sampling evolved. It just was having those underground parties, 2 albums playing.
Yeah.
And you was just playing together to evolving from 2 albums, mixing it, and then going from
Yeah.
that to mixing it, put it on tape.
Right.
And we continue to evolve that way without asking for permission until record labels started saying,
Wait a minute.
you making money.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to sue. But we still continue along that road.
That's very interesting. So I do notice in the introduction you do have a quote from Michelle Obama. Is she an inspiration of yours?
No, throughout the book I have quotes from throughout in every section. I have quote Nipsey Hussle, James Baldwin,
Albert Einstein.
The quote will point out whatever I'm talking about, the point I'm trying to make in that particular
Okay.
section.
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou, Malcolm X.
I
all
love
of
that.
them.
Was there any in particular? I mean, honestly, I would say I think that's very unique. So I'm looking at issue on page 16. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. I think this is amazing.
That's it. You can only make them think.
And then
what do
it
you
starts
do-
off
and then what do you
asked
do
and
with it?
And answered.
Asked and answered.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is really good. So if someone wanted to book, I mean, this is just full of knowledge. I can't wait to actually read this
And I'm
book.
leaving that to you. And that's how I did it too. I made sure I didn't write it in legalese.
Yeah.
And I have another book coming out. I can't say what it is. It's going to be very, very powerful. This was more of an
Yeah.
introductory, but I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in and give the insides of a lot of different things.
Yeah? Like insides as in what?
Of real, like just scenarios, just some insights. Just going to give people elevated knowledge.
Can we talk about what we were talking about off camera?
Yes, absolutely.
So what do you think about the whole, obviously, we all see the news, okay? I'm sure that once this is produced, it'll still be on the news. But the whole P. Diddy situation.
Right, right.
You know, it's, you have different people that are swayed different ways. They feel as though, gosh, don't do this to a black man. You have some people that are like, get him. This is what he deserves. What is your take on it from a legal standpoint?
Yeah, well, from a legal standpoint, the street code versus the legal code.
Hello.
We have to
Yeah.
stand on the legal code, but even legally speaking, that goes back to putting ourselves in compromising positions. It is not an unfamiliar situation. Diddy is pointed out right now, but it's a slew. It's a
course.
culture.
Yes.
And then for us to be torn, that's also culturally, right? We are used to putting things under the rug. We don't deal with things for the sake of us moving forward.
Yes.
Because it goes back, like I said, we've always been in survival mode. So there's a lot of things that have happened in homes, just culturally, that we say, turn a blind eye to that if it's gonna hurt where we're trying to go. That is just our experience that spills over into any and everything. And so that's what we're feeling there when we hear the Diddy. We really don't, if it's, allegedly all the things that he is, charged with, even if they're true, we're just trying to say, even if these true, it may hurt us. We
Yes.
do a mirroring thing.
Yes.
I see me in him.
Right.
And if that goes down, what chances does that make for me?
Right.
We want to be able to see and identify what people look like us,
yes.
and we start seeing that get unfolded by any means necessary. We try to keep that there.
Right. No, I would agree. I do feel like we need to definitely stand on business as it relates to the legalities of
Yes,
it.
yes.
The problem is, you know, when we see someone that's able to really persevere in life and really, you know, create general wealth, generate generational wealth rather, it's really frustrating when you see the downfall and we
Right.
have to watch it.
Right.
And for some people, they love it. They think it's just
Right.
drama and they just feed off of it.
Right.
But somebody like me, and I think somebody like you, kind of sees it as, gosh, I hate that this is happening.
Right.
I hate that we have to also look at it in a legal form, but we also have to look at it in a human form.
Just a human form. My thing when I say I hate that it's happening is not from the perspective I'm shocked it's happening. What I hate that's happening is that it's by design.
Yeah.
When are we going to start seeing the painting on the wall?
Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
And say, I know it's the same painting that you're hanging up. It's by design to have these things happen and to put you in compromising position because power is everything.
Right.
And when you have individuals fearing groups of people having power, we have to make sure that we give you those things that make you happy, but we have to keep control of power. And how do you do that? Put people in
Right.
compromising positions where you get everyone and anything to turn against you.
Yeah. Tell me about it. And I actually hate that I see more of us just not having all the details behind it and just turning against.
Right.
You know,
right.
and I think that's the frustrating part. Like, if you don't know all of the details that are associated, like, your opinion's not needed.
Well, that's where propaganda come in, right? Narrative. We are, as a group of people, and I'm not trying to generalize, we're not a monolith, but if you look at culturally, there's just some of those things that are universal.
Of course.
And we are emotional people,
Yes.
right? We're, you know, as melanated, goddess people, we're very emotional, and sometimes that could be our burden or our crop, right? And so
we're people of trauma.
of trauma.
Yeah.
And then we lead with emotion. So sometimes when you paint a narrative, we don't take time to dissect and analyze it. We take it as truth because you said it.
Yeah.
You must have said it. And you said it in a way that ignites my emotion.
That's familiar to me.
And right. And so that's why I think a lot of times we just take things and we run with it, and then we come back and we don't even apologize when we find out half the stuff is wrong because that defeats a purpose. But that is our cycle a lot.
Right.
Yes.
And I wish that we can kind of get past that. But it's a wish. I mean, obviously it's been happening for generations and generations.
Right.
But I think that most importantly, we have to understand, all of the factors at play in order to crucify someone publicly. So crucifying publicly, let's talk about it. Is it something that is frowned upon in the legal world to just crucify someone without having all the details?
Well, absolutely, right. So that
You know,
is
it happens all the time with like TMZ and, you know, social media.
right. It is definitely frowned upon on paper. We're definitely taught that. But again, I'm a woman of history. And if you even look like sometime in the court systems, there were a lot of people that was crucified. You're supposed to be innocent until found guilty.
Yeah.
But we see that there's a system of guilty until you can prove that you're innocent, right? So that's still another form of public crucifying. So we could talk about, you know, the technical aspect of is it this way versus the reality way. And so we're one big mimic of each other. It starts in all systems, but no, we should not do that. And even though a system does something, we have to individually hold ourselves accountable to what we should and should not do.
I would agree with that. Do you feel as though social media is taking a very big play into what's going on and what's playing out in Diddy's suit?
In Diddy's suit and everything else. And social media could be a plus for us. Social media is just a tool. It's driven by humans. So social media is a reflection of how the humans are using it. And so how you use it could be a benefit for you or it could be a curse for many, right? So social media is that platform, again, to spread narratives, spew out emotions and everything else. So yes, it's huge.
I feel like social media is a blessing and a curse. I
Yeah.
would agree.
Yeah.
I feel as though with AI, obviously, you know, you can create or manipulate the vision
Absolutely.
of humans literally at the drop of the eye.
Absolutely.
Right? We can assume that we're seeing something that we're not.
Absolutely.
And believe it in the
Right.
middle of America. Right? So how does that make your job as an attorney? Do you think that it makes your job a little more difficult?
No, because if I go all the way back to, because artificial intelligence have always been so, we're just elevating in it. But let's just go back to newspapers. I can do a newspaper clipping and make a situation look like that it's not. We've always had the same thing. When you know your history, you know how to handle your present and future. So for me, it doesn't move me because I sit and I see all of the same things just done in a different way. It's literally just a cycle. And it's just presented different ways. So I'm not shocked, I'm not moved, I'm just prepared, right? So it doesn't, the AI, social media, another form of a monster, another head of a dragon. It's always been, none of it is new.
The only thing with AI is that it's a visual form. You know, newspaper was something we can read.
No,
right?
but they have the pictures in newspaper. You pick up the newspapers, then you have magazines, you're still looking at it, right? You have these alterations of what you see. If I had a photographer take a picture of just people burning down something and I call it a riot, instead of presenting that there was an uprising because you take the whole picture of everything, it was a visual still of, I see these monsters. And these monsters look like this. And then the wording under it is associating with the picture that they see. It's been the same. They're just evolving in different platforms to do the same thing.
It's the evolution.
It's just the evolution.
It's the evolution of propaganda.
Evolution. If you literally, in my research, I watch a lot of interviews. If you watch a lot of interviews, you can play some of those interviews right now and they're playing out this same exact way, talking about defunding the police and everything else. Nothing's new. It's the same conversations, new people.
Why do you think this is the case? If we have a legal system that wants to drive what's right and doing the right thing, what do you think is the bridge between the disconnect, essentially?
So we have a legal system that was built on the business of America, which is one big business. And if you read the legal system and the Constitution, it wasn't designed for everyone, right? And then police officers, we had, it was designed for a specific thing in mind. So you have to understand what you're up against. And then again, when you have individuals walk into certain arenas, such as me, into the judicial system, we have to uphold and understand the law and flip it on its face for what it should have been meant to be. So we can't, it's beautiful to say, and I would never speak against my profession and other professions, but the reality of it is there were certain systems not designed to serve and protect, to uplift every single human being.
That's fair.
And so we're still dealing with systems that a lot of us are aligned against.
Okay. Well said. Well said. Trav in the back. You didn't have anything to say. This is good. This is good stuff. And so if someone came to you and said, I really want you to represent me, and you really wanted to help them, but they didn't have the funds, how do you handle that?
I get that all the time. So for me, I am so blessed to be in situations with, and again, it goes back to me strongly believing, because I've been convicted for what's on my heart. I get amazing clients, collaborations, representing businesses. They're able to fund my firm where I'm able to do situations. I pass it forward. So I don't have to worry about everyone I'm representing. I have to worry about a nickel and dime. I don't have to chase that, because the way my world has been revolving, I can do the things that I need to do.
So let's talk about copywriting.
Yes.
So you also handle copywriting.
Yes.
So how important is copywriting in your business? In one's business?
It's like breathing.
It's like breathing.
How important is breathing for you to get up and move? It's essential. The copyright, the trademarks, because when we're putting definers such as the word business, how can we put that when we're not handling it? So if we're handling our business, because we're going to have conversations with other individuals, perception is everything, right? If I want to respect, invest in, buy from, there's certain things that you should have in play.
Yes.
We're not taught to have those conversations, and that's why we're always staying like that. When I go, I was just talking to somebody about this, when I go in those boardrooms or sit at those tables and I have to go to bat for individuals, there's certain questions that's asked. And if those things are not checked, one or two things are happening. They're thinking about Do I want to do business with this person so I can steal everything that they have? Or do I not want to deal with them at all?
Right.
They're not thinking about, do I want to do anything so we can both elevate? So federally protecting your copyright, because you have a copyright once you create content, and federally protecting your trademark if it's offered outside of your state, not only protects it, it just brings you to another level of a conversation.
Okay.
And we have to get there.
Okay. So people have to understand the significance behind copywriting.
Yes.
It is just as strong as and important as breathing.
That's
if
it.
you have a brand and you have a business.
It's your life. It's what you're saying. A business is alive. Then you're breathing. That's your lungs. That's your heart. Take care of all those things. Otherwise, it's a shell.
Right.
It's a shell with a name, LLC Corp behind it. It's a shell.
Right. It's an organ.
It's an organ. It's a corpse.
It's a oh.
I'm just saying, because it's not breathing, it doesn't have a heart, it's just you walking around with a corpse.
It could be a corpse.
So you better, so make it come alive
by
doing the things that we need to do. And we just owe it to ourselves, right? To say, I am the highest me. I am the best me.
Yes.
And where I've learned, and I'm going to do something with what I learned.
I love that. I love that. Did we cover a couple things in this book that you wanted to discuss? Because I feel like there may be one more thing before we close. Right to privacy.
Right to privacy.
Yes. 91.
Yes, right to privacy. So a lot of times we even say this, right? If you become famous, if you become known, you relinquish your right to your privacy. I can say and do whatever I want. Not just even celebrities. A lot of times you have people just taking pictures, right? And saying, I could use this picture. Or you have businesses using these random pictures. You have a right to your privacy, no matter your celebrity status or not. Now, there's some exceptions in the legal realm, but there's exceptions that can be crossed.
Okay.
Please ask Cardi B and Tasha K. She's seen it. She crossed it in the worst way. She's still trying to bounce back. So there are boundaries, and we have to understand the boundaries that just because somebody's a celebrity, just because something's very public, you have to be very careful invading somebody's right to privacy.
Wow.
And that's another area in which we fall short. And also not just invading someone's, understanding and respecting yours and know that you have it. Know that you have it. So this book doesn't just teach you about what not to do, and it is teaching you all that you have and not allow someone to do to you.
I love this. So the code, you guys please get into this book. This is where can they find this book?
Yeah, so the hard copy's on Amazon, but I also have Audible because I made sure, I understand my culture.
I know that's
get
right.
It. Listen, sometimes we busy or sometimes we just don't like to read. Whatever one. I make sure that it's Audible, so on audio, so on iTunes you can get it, and then Amazon Audible.
Yes.
So you can get it in all those ways. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. This is a wealth of knowledge. I definitely want to have you back.
Absolutely.
So that we can talk more about the legalities of entertainment.
We could drill down.
Copywriting and understanding our business, because we need more people like you in our business to help educate us, because there's not a lot of us out there.
There's not a lot.
So can you please let us all know where you can be found?
I absolutely can. Can I say this before we wrap up? Because this is really important. The Corporate Transparency Act passed. And this is where a lot of us are going to get swept up at. It applies not just to LLCs. Any entity that you have formed with the Secretary of State, the Corporate Transparency Act applies to you. If you do not register your entity by the deadline in which you need to do it, you will be fined $500 per day. That's the part we're not getting, $500 per day. So not only would that mean you may owe and lose your business, you may lose everything that's around you. I want us to get it. But you can find me at, for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, just go to www.allaboutella.com. That's www.allaboutella.com. You can connect with me on all platforms from there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have so many questions, guys. We are definitely going to have Ella back. But I am Cocktails with Carly. You can find me on Instagram at Let's Talk Over Cocktails, which is our show page. You can find me on my personal page, which is Cocktails with Carly _. And of course, like and subscribe on YouTube so that you can watch this amazing interview on YouTube at Let's Talk About It Over Cocktails with Carly. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a guest. I appreciate it. You're a wealth of knowledge. We need more people like you in our community. Thank you. Thank you for watching. And we're out.
Let's talk about it. How you cocktails with Carly. That's how you feel. Let's talk about it. How you cocktails with Carly. Tell them why you mad. Let's talk about it. Tell them how you feel. Let's talk about it. Tell them why you stressed. Tell them why you mad. Tell them why you happy. Tell them why you blessed. Tell them why you blessed. Tell them why you blessed.